Hi there, I'm Irk, and this is my channel Get Irked. In this episode, Palantir Technologies. Is this black box company hiding profits for your portfolio, or is it looking to assassinate all of your gains? Before we get started, if you could, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me out. Thank you so much. In this episode, we're going to talk about Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR. Palantir Technologies specializes in cybersecurity and a variety of really lucrative high-end security features for technology. However, because this company caters to governments, it can be very difficult to figure out who their customers are, how much money they're making, and anything about the contracts whatsoever. And while their technology is extremely lucrative and they have an excellent management team, meme investors got a hold of it, so the stock is incredibly volatile. Additionally, because it's a relatively new growth company, it's spending a lot of money, it isn't making any profits. So when I'm looking at this stock, it fits more in my speculation in play portfolio than it does in my investments in play portfolio, even though I think the long-term prospects are really good for Palantir. Palantir Technologies is perfect for the Halloween time of year because a lot of people think it's kind of spooky. Because of the black box nature of the company and its hesitancy to share a lot about its customers or its technology, a lot of investors view Palantir with a little bit of suspicion. Additionally, when you see news stories about how Palantir bought $50 million in physical gold bars, you can kind of see where people are coming from. Let's take a look at Palantir's fundamentals and kind of get a feel for where it stands in terms of its value. As you can see, Palantir Technologies has a negative 79-cent earnings per share because it's spending all of its profits in order to stimulate growth in the company. And even though it has a decent market cap of $46.814 billion, a lot of people, including Yahoo's calculations, consider this stock to be overvalued right now. The reason for this is because it has a lot of growth already built into its price. Can Palantir grow into its price over time? Absolutely. It seems to have a really good track record, but the question is it worth what it's worth right now, and is there a lot of volatility ahead for the stock? Let's take a look at the charts. First, I'm going to show you where the stocks come from, and then I'll show you a buying plan of what I would do if I didn't currently hold a position. After that, I'll show you my own trade so you can see where my position currently stands in my speculation in play portfolio. Palantir opened for trading on September 30th, 2020 at $10. It had a high that day of $11.42, a low of $9.11, and then closed the day down from its opening price at $9.50. From here, there was quite a bit of volatility before Palantir rocketed to an all-time high. It had developed a lot of popularity from meme investors who really wanted to pump up the price of the stock. It hit its all-time high on January 27th, 2021 at $45 a share. However, after that pretty significant blow off top, Palantir really started to come under weakness and sold off significantly. In fact, it didn't find support until May 11th of 2021 with a low at $17.06 a share. This represents a drop from its all-time high of 62% plus. So right off the bat, you can see that Palantir Technologies is quite the spicy meatball when it comes to an investment. From here, Palantir Technologies moved its way through 2021, establishing different price points, levels of support, and reached a high a little bit over $29. Its most recent high was made September 17th, 2021 at $29.29 before it pulled back once more, hitting a low at $23.02. From here, let's take a look at a buying plan of what I would do if I didn't already hold shares in Palantir Technologies. First, we can come back to October 6th of 2020, its all-time low of $8.90, and draw a Fibonacci retracement. In TradingView, you draw a Fibonacci retracement by hitting Alt-F and drawing from the low of a move to the high of the move, and that provides you with calculated levels of support where you might find support to make additional buys calculated by the Fibonacci method. When I look at an investment like Palantir Technologies that has a little bit more price action than a new stock, I like to draw an additional Fibonacci retracement so that I can see extra levels of support, especially when you see here that although it's getting close to the 61.8% retracement, it isn't hitting it head on. So let's draw another Fibonacci retracement from this low at $17.05 to its most recent high at $29.29. You can see that this new Fibonacci retracement has actually given us pretty significant support at its 50% retracement at $23.17 because we've come down and tested this support line a couple of times and so far it's held. That would make $23.17 or around there to be a pretty good starting place to buy a position. As this is a speculative investment for me, I use a very small allocation in comparison with my investment investments in play. If you are considering any speculative investment, you need to keep in mind that you could lose all of the money that you put in the investment. Naturally, this is the case for any investment, including a long-term investment, but it's even more likely that you'll lose your money when it comes to something that's volatile and speculative in nature like Palantir. After our first buy here around $23.26, my second buy might be right about here where you can see it found support at $20.55. After that, we've got the low at $17.06, but instead of using the all-time low, I like to go a little bit higher and use the open of the day, in this case $17.20. Naturally, when you're making your buying plan, it's completely up to you what your price targets are. If you're more aggressive and you really want the shares, you'd buy above the close of the day. If you're really conservative and you really want a stock to test its support before you buy in, you might use the low or even a couple of cents underneath the low. Keeping in mind your range of what your price might be varies wildly depending on the price of the stock. After $17.20, we've got a Fibonacci retracement level here at $13.73, which seems to be pretty reasonable. If you were thinking you were going to be conservative, you could use a low of $13.18, and if you wanted to be more aggressive, you could use this position of $14.41. After that, you can go down here where you can see there's quite a bit of support down around $10 or $10.25, depending on whether you're conservative or aggressive, followed by its all-time low of $8.90 or around there. If you were being more aggressive, I would shoot for a buy slightly above $9, as round numbers seem to have a psychological impact on investors when it comes to when they're going to buy or when they're going to sell. Since Palantir Technologies has demonstrated that it is consistently developing levels of support, there's interest in the market to buy it, I would probably start with a 50% allocation and then buy 10% on the way down at each price point. By taking that approach, you'd have a 100% allocation should Palantir Technologies pull all the way back to its all-time low down here at $8.90. Now let's cover my own position and I'll show you how I got started and where I am currently. I made my first buy on February 12, 2021 when it pulled back from its all-time high with a 10% allocation at $31.50. Obviously, I'm taking a more conservative approach since this stock is significantly volatile. From there, I made my second buy about 5 days later with another 10% allocation at $25 on February 17, 2021. I made my third buy on February 23rd with another 10% allocation at $22.80. I made my fourth buy on March 29th with a 10% allocation at $21.45. And I made my fifth buy at $18.25 on May 10th, giving me a 50% allocation with an average share cost of $20.42 per share. From here, I let Palantir Technologies run for a little bit, where it made a new high, and when it pulled back, I decided to take profits if it tested that new high again, which it did. I took profits on September 8th, selling 10% of my position at $26.19. This gives me a current per share cost of $24.07, a reduction of 23.59% from my initial purchase of $31.50 back on February 12th. From here, I intend to take profits if it retests its $29 level, but I'm holding off buying more until it breaks through $20, which it may or may not do. I really like Palantir Technologies as a speculative investment. In addition to it having really decent growth potential, the fact that meme investors come in and really pop the stock gives it a lot of volatility, which makes it kind of fun to play with over time as a speculative investment. Thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.